Hey, Andy. I, I think we are. I think we are alive, my friend. I think we are alive.
Let's go.
What's
We're
up,
feeling
everyone?
good.
Appreciate everyone who's chiming in right now, guys. Get $50 instantly when you play $5 when you use the promo code Light Years. Presented by Prize Picks. Welcome to Light Years. Warriors are 4-1, man. It's baseball series with the Pelicans.
Nope. Don't bring up baseball, but yep. Good series against the Pelicans. That's good. I thought you were gonna say something else.
Congratulations to the Dodgers.
Keep going. I really thought you were gonna say. I thought you were trolling me, but never mind. We'll
Well,
keep it going.
if you're gonna tee me up like that, I might troll you a little bit. But no, man, this is a fun Warriors team. When Steph turned his ankle Sunday, I was like, all right. I figured this was coming 20 to 30 games in, but I guess the fourth game is fine. And I expected it to be like it usually is, kind of annoying. And instead, like, I could not have asked for two better games against the Pelicans. And I know they're banged up. And I know they're arguably more banged up than the Warriors. Not a good team. It's Zion, Brandon Ingram, and you, me, and Tommy, basically. Like, that's the lineup right there. It's not good. But you know what? Win's a win. And it's not just that they won both those games, it's that they looked good and they looked believable in both those games.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck if the Pelicans are injured. Do you know how many times we had to watch the Warriors the last couple seasons struggle against a team that was worse than the Pelicans team that we saw tonight and last night? Like teams that we saw the Warriors would go 5 minutes left into the game, left in the game, and it'd be a 6-point game, right? How many times have we seen those type of games? Tonight we saw the Warriors. They dominated them from tip off. See, I know last night I wasn't here. They came back and dominated the last 36 minutes of the game. Tonight they dominated all 48. It felt like kind of going back to the first two games of the season. Right now it feels like that Clippers game was a little bit of a fluke. Now I'm really interested to what they look like on the road. Knock on wood, Steph is going to be back for that one. But objectively, this Warriors team, I'm watching all of these games across League Pass. Objectively, one of the most fun, enjoyable teams to watch based on style of play. Their defense is on a string, and their offense is fun when they're hitting threes. It's entertaining, even without Steph. These last two nights, it's been fun to watch.
Yeah, I feel like we can get into it. Like, look, the Celtics and the Thunder look like juggernauts. A couple other teams look really good, and that's just the reality of it. But the Warriors are playing objectively good basketball, believable basketball. The type of basketball that should ensure that they're not a play-in team. Like, they should be if they keep this together, they will not be a play-in team. And the reality of the matter is, like, all you can do is keep stacking wins, playing good basketball, and seeing what happens when you keep getting into the last two seasons. In my opinion, like, a lot of things sunk them. A punch, locker room drama, all these different things. But more than anything, terrible starts. You're like 15-20. You don't really put yourself in position to be able to handle adversity if you get off to a bad start. Like, sometimes it's as simple as, like, dude, just win 10 of your first 15 games. Be 22-11. Do those things to put yourself in position. Take care of business against the good teams and see what happens.
Well, when they got off to that, when they won the championship, they got off to that insane run off the season, 9-1 off the bat. Yeah, 18-2. The season after, 3-7, right? Remember that one? They had to They had to go 7-3 just to climb back at 500. That was the Wiseman year. I call it the Wiseman year. And then last year, like, they started okay, but they fell completely apart after the first 5-6 games. They had to remember, what did they go down the stretch? Fitz always has a 27-12 or something like that, just to get in the running, just to get into the play-in game. And so this is kind of shaping up. Is this a season where it's a fluky start, or is it something where you've banked so many wins in the first quarter of the season that you can take your pedal off a little bit in the second half, which is this team looks like they can actually keep the pedal on all season because they've got so many guys. I think they've got 13. So actually, I don't even know if they need to take the pedal off, you know?
Doing it without Steph, Wiggins, and Melton is very impressive. It's like, honestly, just doing it without Steph alone is impressive to me. But it's like Wiggins has looked phenomenal in the first 4 games. And Melton is one of their best players, even if he hasn't had a chance to establish himself. Like, that was a signing I was super hyped about because he's a winning player. He fits everything they want to do. So it's like you strip away your best player by like a significant margin and 2 key guys, and you're still kind of rolling. Like, I kind of joked about this in the preseason, and it wasn't even a joke. It was more of just kind of like how I was feeling at the time. This season might be Kerr's Spoelstra redemption arc, and Stevie Spoelstra out there. Like, that's what it feels like. Like they do feel like kind of the thing we've been praising the Miami Heat about the last 4 or 5 years, where they're just like, they're a juggernaut. They beat teams with a lot of like, I don't want to call Lindy this, but like NPC, you know, like just like guys are just like, where did they find this guy? This isn't a max player. They found this guy in the G League and they get contributions from him. And a lot of it's because of coaching and culture. And that's kind of how it feels like maybe I'm trying to speak it into existence, but nothing would make me happier if this was Kerr's Spoelstra redemption year.
Well, ironically, tonight was a Miami Heat looking like game. By the way, they also went up against Jamal Cain, who's on the Pelicans, who, by the way, Jamal Cain, remember that one game? You know what I'm talking about? Remember that one game he cooked the Warriors? And we're sitting here like, how the hell did they... Like, those were the type of games that the Warriors were losing, right? Last season, 2 seasons ago, they were losing to guys like Jamal Cain. And again, like you, like, I'm not saying it like it's a bad thing. He can hoop. But then you watch Lindy Waters last night. And again, Lindy Waters played tonight. And you're like, you get why he's not like the bona fide.
He's not on a $100 million contract.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, he's on the scouting report. Now you know what he's going to do. And he had 1 3 tonight. He couldn't get a shot off, right? But it's the type of adjustment that Steve shows that, like, did you see him throw doubles at Ingram right off the bat? I don't actually even remember the last time the Warriors strung different defensive alignments on a game-to-game basis. This is what we mean. This is, I think, what you mean by the Spoelstra stuff. Like, each and every game has a different game plan versus, hey, here, our system's going to run no matter how much, no matter what, regardless of game, because we're good enough. The Warriors are not good enough, right? So they need to switch it up every game. When I saw the Ingram double, I was like, this is perfect. And then the Draymond adjustment, sometimes, like, that's not even coaching. That's just Draymond being a freaking monster. Like, he completely destroyed Zion tonight anytime he tried to get to his left hand. So the Spoelstra stuff. And the last thing, I think, to your point, I don't think I've seen Steve smile that wide in I don't know how long, but it makes sense that this is the game. You know what I mean? This is the type of win. 99-85 final score. That's a type of win led by role players that Stevie Spoelstra is all about.
Friend of the show, Kendrick Perkins, said this on the NBA earlier today. I want to play it for you.
Think about this. The Jordan Poole, Draymond Green situation, that was a distraction for the Warriors. Last year, the whole up and down roller coaster with Klay Thompson, that was a distraction. For the first time, Steve Kerr in a long time has walked into an NBA season without any distractions, and a team for the vets and guys look like they done lost themselves into the team, right? That's what you want. Again, if he want to go 13 deep and it's working for him, I'm not going to question him because I questioned Joe Mazzulla with all the threes last year and it worked for them. Here's the thing. What's my saying, Malika? Iron sharpens what?
Iron.
It's okay to have competition within the locker room. It's okay to have that, right? Long as it's good competition and it's healthy. Look, I love the way the Warriors are playing right now. Their energy is just contagious.
Perk's tie looks good. Tie shirt combo looks nice.
Just on fire right now. But is he not 100% correct? Like, they don't feel like they have agendas, which, and we don't need to go down the, okay, there might be one agenda, but we'll talk about it later.
No, do it later.
But it does feel like, it feels like what Steve Kerr wants of a team, which is just like roster bought in and like, yeah, sometimes you're going to be the guy who doesn't play as much as you want to, but who cares? Who cares if everyone is committed to winning?
Well, let's go through it. I mean, Lindy Waters started today. He didn't start yesterday. Buddy Hield sat on the bench. Buddy Hield's
played
the
2
best
games
scorer right
ago.
now.
Yeah.
I know. And Buddy Hield came off the bench today. And Buddy Hield says in the locker room, like, hey man, as long as it works. He said he told Steve after the game, like, hey, good move, right? Like happy about it. Slow-mo played 4 minutes against the Clippers or one of the games that was like a close. He played 4 minutes. And me and you were sitting here like, what's going on? Now he went 0 for 9 last night, even though I thought it was solid. But tonight he was awesome. Go down the list. Moses Moody is like tier 1 of the guy that's bought in because he signed a freaking contract extension, not knowing if he was even going to play games. And now he's playing 25 minutes because guys are hurt, like completely bought in. DeAnthony Melton, I thought he was going to start, didn't start, right? Pods, you could argue. Like go down the list. All these guys. I didn't see much of Looney tonight, right? And TJD looked great. So that's the type of roster you need bought in, especially when you don't have top tier talent. You can't say we have a set 8 or 9 every game. Steve has to be comfortable. Like that's part of the coaching stuff that I think people don't think about. It's like, yes, there's some X's and O's, but you got to be able to comfortably sit guys. I that's most valuable with veterans because if Buddy Hield's sitting, then guys can't really say nothing, right? Like if Kyle Anderson is sitting, guys can't really say nothing.
And how much fun do you think Steve's having coaching this type of roster? Like it's just, you don't, not everything's about like, oh, I can't do that because he's not going to be happy about it. Or I can't, or like, oh, I can't do that because he's not ready to play, period. That sort of thing. He like truly has like 14 interchangeable pieces. Okay. Like Steph's not interchangeable. Jaren's not interchangeable, but like, it's just kind of like, this is a Lindy game. This is a Buddy, this is a Melton. We haven't even got a Melton game, but like, this is this is a slow-mo game. This is that. And he doesn't have to worry about like the other stuff, which really is kind of the shittiest part of coaching anyway.
And I think that's the part of the NBA. I think that's probably the hardest part in the big 3 sports is the NBA has the most of that is what I'm trying to say. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Like it doesn't really happen in the NFL. You don't really see it much. MLB is kind of a different story. It's so individualized, but the NBA I think is the most like players get to kind of do whatever they want most of the time. And it's nice to see the Warriors not have to deal with too much of that this season. It makes it fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, man, despite Steph having a ankle tweak, and honestly, he might be back Friday. I kind of think probably next week, realistically. The fact that they're not ruling him out on Saturday's game yet lets you know that like it's not a terrible thing. But despite that thing, everything else has pretty much gone perfect to start the season.
Did you see that he? I know we got to get to a read, but did you see that he was in Jersey and looked like he was warming up? And I don't go to the games anymore, so I wasn't in the warm-ups. But it looked like he was in warm-up gear before the game, breaking down the huddle and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I doubt that he plays Saturday. It probably seems like it's too early, but doesn't sound like it's going to be 2 weeks, Sam. Hopefully it'll be a week and a half. Knock on wood. So the vibe keeps moving. All right, before we get to other stuff, we are Light Years Podcast brought to you by Prize Picks. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. Use promo code Light Years. Man, it's that easy. Just deposit, play your first $5, use the promo code Light Years. You get $50 instantly. You can use another $5, you can play 10 more. Prize Picks, best place to get real money sports action. Over 10 million members, billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. I actually had Prize Picks today on a two-person parlay. One was on Aaron Judge, which I hit the over on. The other was on Wiggins. Wiggins didn't play, so they just refunded it back to me. Like that's a great thing about Prize Picks, right? But that's what I mean, though. Like they do this thing where it's like, hey, you can do it. I hit it at I think like 2:30 p.m. I thought Wiggins was going to play. They even like said he was going to play when like 6 p.m. came around, and then for some reason he didn't. Prize Picks just said, hey, here's your $15 back, right? Go play it on. Go put it on something else tomorrow. Go put it on go put it on John Moran or something, right? So Prize Picks, best way to get real money sports action. Join over 10 million members, users, and sign up today.
Texans Jets tomorrow.
Oh my goodness, Aaron Rodgers on national TV. Yeah, I mean, like that's what it will take to get me to watch Aaron Rodgers on national television is Prize Picks, and I do it every damn week. So sign up today, get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Download the app today. Use code LIGHTYEARS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use code LIGHTYEARS. Get $50 off after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
Nice. Have you got your body spec scan, by the way?
I got it set up for next Tuesday.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Mobile,
Guys,
by the way. Go.
Woo. Is that coming to you? They're coming to you on the peninsula?
No, it's close. It's like 5 minutes away. I literally just because the SF
Nice.
is too far. So literally, that's a good thing about Body Spec. They have mobile like clinics that you can drive to right next to where you live.
So you guys ready to kickstart your fitness jersey? Whether you're an athlete, a fitness enthusiast, or just trying to get back into shape, Body Spec has you covered. For less than the price of a haircut, you can get a DEXA scan, the world's most accurate body composition scan. Guys, what is a DEXA scan? A DEXA scan is a highly accurate method for measuring various aspects of your body's composition. So the obvious one's body fat percentage, but also bone density, lean muscle mass, visceral fat, like the fat around your organs. And this is like traditionally something that like only professional athletes have done, like Warriors players do it or 49ers players do it. But now it's becoming accessible for everyone, just two average Joes like Andy and me who are just kind of trying to stay in shape and stay ahead of the inevitable aging curve that's coming our way. So, transform your New Year's resolution into reality. Right now, we're offering an exclusive discount on single scans. So if you use the code LightYears45, and the link is in the bio, LightYears45 at checkout, you get a DEXA scan for $45. Go look elsewhere. These are typically $150 to $200. You get scanned for, guys, you blow $45 all the time on nothing. So LightYears45, DEXA scan, $45. Get numbers that actually matter and can guide your fitness journey. And yeah, it's that simple. You're going Tuesday. I'm getting my scan on Friday. We can compare results. We'll see if I read my results on the pod.
I was going to say live reading on the pod. Live reading on the pod.
38% body. No.
You're not 38%. No way. The cool thing about this, though, seriously, seriously, the cool thing about this, I'm gonna get one for myself. I'm gonna get one for my brother and my sister. But my brother's doing a triathlon, and he's actually doing it a couple weekends from now. And the cool thing about this is like he wants to like see like, hey, he's trained for like almost 3 months, right? And he's trying to figure out like how much body fat have I actually trimmed off. And I think the older that you get, the more like you need to be conscientious of your actual health, and this is a good way to do it versus like going to a doctor or like getting or going to a gym that you have to pay, what is it, like $200 per to do it. It's $45. Lightyear's $45, right? That's it.
Lightyear's $45. Get it for $45. I also don't know if you're like me, but like, do you have like a Fitbit or like some sort of like wearable tech?
Yeah, Apple Watch. Yeah.
How much does that like keep you kind of on track? Like you get motivated by the metrics. You're like, well, I usually, my heart rate's at this normally when I do my workout. So I got to push myself. So for me, the other aspect of it is just like metrics kind of help me have that baseline kick in the ass to make sure I do the things I need to do. Whereas like when it's a little more vague, it's a little easier to be like, yeah, at least I went to the gym. It's good enough, so.
Everyone's competitive. So it's like you going in, I think I did one years ago. I think it was like 20. Oh man, I'm gonna give it away. I think I was like 25%, but the good thing is you could do it on a monthly basis, right? So you're like, hey, next time I come in 24, next time I come in 23. I don't think I'll get to 15%, but it's a good way to hold yourself accountable. I think that's what we're trying to say.
So let's get back to the Warriors real quick. We're talking about the the vibes, immaculate vibes. Everyone's bought in. There is one player. I'm not gonna say he's not bought in because he has not torpedoed anything, but like he's let it be known one Jonathan Kuminga, he doesn't like coming off the bench. Or like it was a little passive aggressive. I can't remember the quote off the top of my head, but like, kind of like I got text. It's cool. It's just kind of like a little Gen Z sad boy stuff. And let's be honest, we all know he wants to start. But I want your opinion. What have you thought of the last 2 games from him coming off the bench?
I mean, what I think, dude, I think you were right. Right? They put him in a better 5-man lineup. He looks better. He plays better. His mental lapses are about the same as always. I don't think he's trying less. I don't think he's trying more. I think he's playing the style that he plays. And when you put him next to Buddy Hield and or Lindy Waters and or Moses Moody, and you're spacing the floor, and you've got Trace Jackson Davis or Draymond next to him to anchor the rim, and you got Podziemski making the right decisions on the ball, it's a sweet 5-man lineup, man. Like it's really good, and he looks good. He looks really good, and he's by far the most athletic player on the floor. And tonight he showed multiple times, right? He got to the rim a few times. He got some big offensive rebounds. Like he had a huge one down the stretch there, made some nice passes. It's nice that the quotes, which are, I always think, Sam, because he's a fob, I always think
that's
that
another part of it too.
I don't like the words. It's just different. Like your dad, your parents, my parents are fobs. Like if you put what they said down in words, it just comes off a little different. So for me, it's like, I don't like, was he, I'm sure he wasn't happy, but I guess what I'm trying to say is he is not showing it on the court. He is playing well, and he got 26 minutes tonight, and he played well. He probably could have played a little more, honestly, because they couldn't score for a little bit in the second quarter, so he probably could have played a little more. But I thought he was good, man. I think this is better for him. It just, Kuminga's not gonna like coming off the bench. It just, so I don't know how sustainable this is, but he looks better, isn't it?
I do think that's a good point. Some of the, I don't want to call it attitude, but like some of the perception is a little lost in translation. I don't even think English is his second language. I think it's his third or fourth language.
Yeah.
Some of it's just like it comes across a certain way, and it's like, I don't know, man. If I communicated in my third language, I wouldn't like finesse things the way I do in English. So
right.
There's some of that too. I think the more important thing is it hasn't affected his play in any capacity. I think it's motivated him. I think to your point, same defensive lapses, but he's still kind of fighting as hard as he always does. And they're playing with the 4 with spacing around him, which is the best way to play him. That's the best way to play him. I'd like them to be able to figure out a way to do that with the starting group, but they don't really have the roster composition to do it. So it is what it is. This is kind of the best way to use him on this team right now, and it's working.
Yeah, I was gonna say there is no, like, this is, if he can play next to Draymond, it is absolutely perfect. And Draymond doesn't want to play not next to a big, so it's hard. All these things, but we'll see. I'm fascinated to see what happens when the big lineup is back. I feel like they're going to go back to it, and he'll start again. But I do think this sets a precedence that he can, like, he closed tonight. He closed last night too. Like, so I think this sets a precedence to him. And again, like, we're talking about this like he's a new member of the team. Like, he knows how Steve operates. Like, he said Steve sent him a text. Like, these guys aren't new to each other. Like, they know how to communicate to each other. And you think, by the way, you think Kuminga sent screenshot of that text and sent it to Shams? And just like, just fire that.
Do you think Shams found out from Kuminga, or did Shams know before Kuminga even texted him?
Oh my goodness! Wow. Wow.
Shams has too much power. Shams has too much power now. Now that Woj is retired, unchallenged. I mean, he's coming out there with these graphics. Like, what is that bench graphic?
Bench. So I think it's gonna be we're on a tangent here, but it's gonna be telling how powerful he feels if he starts putting out like hit pieces. You remember peak Woj, when peak Woj would throw out hit pieces like he was like a god? We'll see how powerful Shams feels if he throws out like a Steve Kerr hit piece. You know what I mean? End of the season or something like that. We'll see. Prime Woj is different. All right. Do we have more Kuminga stuff? Do we?
No,
I
don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much more to say there. Like he handled it as well as I could expect him to. I think he played well in these 2 games. I still don't think he's playing as well as he played last year. The stretch he had in January, where he was, it's not just averaging 20 points. I don't really care about that as much as when he got a one-on-one, he just won it every time. Right now, he's still kind of like, he had that one against Ingram that was, he did that repeatedly last year where you're just like, oh, don't let this guy get into space. It's over, right? He's still kind of starting a little slow right now. So,
well, tonight, what I was really happy about was he cut the 3-point shooting out of his shot diet. He took it out. Like he only shot 1 3 tonight, which I was happy about. And he late in the game, he pump faked a wide open corner 3 and took it to the hole, drew a foul. And that's kind of, I think, I don't know if that's what they want from him as much. It feels like they were kind of telling him to shoot more threes, but that's what I want from him. Andy Liu, Coach Liu. Like I'd enjoy it if he could just pump fake from 3 and just drive it to the hole, man. Even if they don't fall for the pump fake, I don't know.
I think they just want to be decisive. I think they want him to take threes with confidence, but I think they also want him to, if you have a seam, just attack and go hard. Like you're the best athlete on the floor, pretty much against anyone. Like pretty much against anyone you can get to the rim if you want to. So play those 2 games, but be decisive. And through the first few games, like he wasn't very decisive, right? It was a lot of like thinking, do I want to shoot it? I'm going to get into this. Next thing you know, you get like a fadeaway 6-footer, which is like the worst outcome for a possession for him. So I don't, more than anything, it's just like, just be more decisive in general. That's when good things happen. When he was doing that in January last year, I was like, ooh, this is interesting because he does have the physical gifts. Like he does. So
don't need him on the road trip. That's for sure.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick.
Yep.
Where are you at with the Warriors in the bigger picture of the West right now?
The Western Conference has been a little shaky, Samuel. I'm watching some of these teams, and like for example, the Memphis Grizzlies, not that impressive. I thought they'd be a lot better. I thought they'd be kind of back to what they were a few years back. That's not been the case. Denver, I think, is pretty obvious. One of the teams that is they are in trouble. Minnesota maybe less in trouble, but still kind of a little bit shaky, right? So I think it's an interesting Western Conference. I think teams are still really good. I'm not saying the Warriors are better than these teams, but I think I started the season thinking that the Warriors were for sure not better than the top 5-ish teams. I don't think that's the case. I think the West, outside of OKC is way better than all of these other West teams. But outside of OKC, if you go down the list, I think the Warriors have a chance to be as good, if not better, than all these teams based on the first week and a half of NBA. Do you not agree watching the rest of these Western Conference teams? There's nobody that's poking their head out and saying we're the best outside of the Thunder.
OKC looks like they're going to rip off 65 wins.
OKC
and maybe they won't,
Yep.
but OKC looks like a juggernaut. Everyone else, it's kind of a mix for me right now. Like to your point, like Phoenix and Dallas have been better than I expected, but they also, like, I'm expecting age and injuries to catch up to them a little bit at some point. I don't know. The Lakers had a phenomenal start to the season, but just tonight, laying an egg against Cleveland. Yep. So it's kind of like, I don't know, they're dangerous. I think they're going to be better than their record and not a team that anyone wants to play in a single game if you have to, but I'm not convinced that they're not going to be the same sort of like 48-win team they were last year, that sort of thing. And Denver, to your point, 2-2 does them a disservice because it doesn't sound like it's that bad, but I'm like, dude, they need all world performances from Jokic to win anything right now. Like Jokic is 40, 10 and 10 shooting 50% from 3. And they're like in close games with the Clippers type of stuff, which, maybe we shouldn't talk about it because the Warriors just lost the Clippers
lost to the Clippers, right?
I do think the West is kind of shaking up the way it has the last couple of years, which is the Thunder are probably going to run away with it. And at least one other team, if not two other teams, are going to be in that like 55 win range. And everyone else is going to be in the 3 to 10, which is to say the Warriors, if they keep taking care of business, I would not be surprised if they had home court in the first round, even with this roster, or if they were the 10 seed. Like both of those are very plausible. But you know what? Keep stacking wins, man. The thing that keeps coming to my mind is they can't take wins away from you. They can't take it away from you that you played the Pelicans without DeJounte Murray and Herb Jones. They can't take it away from you that you played them twice in a row that way. Just keep winning games, put yourself in a good position, and options open up to you. The alternative is you screw around and you're 19-24, and then you get into we just got to win everything from here on out span. And that's like, we've seen that multiple years in a row. Where does it lead? Nowhere. It leads nowhere. So, good vibes, stack wins, worry about the later stuff later. Worry about the second option when we get closer to the trade deadline. Worry about like all that stuff. I'm happy to talk about it, but I just don't see the point right now, because right now what matters is get to 5-1, get to like 8-2, get to 10-3, like do those things where you put yourself in position where the pressure is on. Like, man, dude, these guys are good and they probably still don't have enough guys,
I'd argue second option, Buddy Hield. But I think I think this road trip's going to tell us a lot. I mean, they've got Houston, Washington, the first two like really winnable games. I'm not saying they should win against Houston, but winnable games. And then you got Boston, Cleveland, OKC. Can you get one of those? And so can you walk out?
One would be huge. Yeah,
one would be huge. I think one would be huge. I'd assume Steph is back for Boston, Cleveland, and OKC, but those are tough, man. Cleveland looks great. Boston and OKC, two best teams by far in the NBA. So I think this road trip, Sam, tells us a lot, because do they go 1-4? Then we're kind of sitting here next week and saying like, okay, this is they got a lot of work in front of them.
We got a little too high. We got a little too high on the Lindy Waters game against the Pelicans.
Too much opium. Too much opium. 2-3. Then it's like, okay, they're staying afloat, right? 3-2. Now we're talking about like a real, I think, like to your point,
3-2 is
home court. Yep.
3-2 is the number. If this is a bought in serious team in some ways, they'll beat Houston, who's a good team. Yep. To be clear, that is a good team, and they're probably without Steph in that game. They'll beat the Wizards, because that's the worst team you're playing this span. They then will figure out a way to win one of the Celtics, Cavs, Thunder. I don't know where that win's coming from, but you go 13 deep. One of those nights you win it. Honestly, yeah, man. If they go 3-2 over the next 5, if they are 7-4 coming back for the Klay Thompson game, which I'm a little annoyed how much they're hyping it up. It's a little too like trying to project like you're okay with everything, It's like the dude who broke up with a girl and is like, yeah, dude, we're still friends. It's like, relax, man. You don't need like, who are you trying to impress?
No. The worst part, I agree. The worst part of it is when he goes like, oh yeah, she's talking to a guy right now, but it's all good. It's all good. Like, he's a really cool guy. It's like, dude, you don't. It's like, dude, relax. It hurts. It's all good, man. By the way,
you don't need to be that on top of it. It's like you heard Fitz on the broadcast. It's like, our friend is coming back. I'm like,
our great friend. Klay looks good. Klay looks good in Dallas, by the way. So our great friend.
He does.
Our great friend.
He does. I think I speak for most Warrior fans when I say, like, look, man, he's gonna get applauded when I see him. I don't need to like talk about how okay I am with everything at all times, because I'm not okay with it.
And here's the thing: it's not like it's Klay's retirement tour. Like, we're gonna see Klay in a Dallas uniform or another uniform for like the next 3 years. Like, Klay isn't retiring
next year. That's my money.
It's not good. I got nothing.
I just say it is a little. This is more a comment on like Fitz. If I'm being honest, it's like, bro, just like let it be weird for a minute. We'll get over it. He's going to get a statue. Everyone's going to be happy. No one's truly mad about the whole thing. I just don't need the projection at every step of the way.
Fitz, how do we think about Fitz this season? A, B, C, kind of standard. Nothing crazy yet.
No
Just
comments.
typical Fitz. Typical Fitz stuff. We'll see. He's been all in on the well, they had 2 3-point shooters and now they've got 6 type stuff that we've heard from the front office. So shout out to Fitz, but we'll see. Road trip will tell us a lot. All right.
We'll cut this early. Appreciate everyone who's been here. We'll be back next game.